Hello everyone. Today I'll walk you through 5 essential calculation in analytical chemistry. That is preparing stock solution at 1000 ppm, converting between ppm and ppb, spike calculations, recovery calculation, and correction factors for high or low recovery. These are fundamental skills for quality control, method validation, and routine laboratory analysis. So let's get started. So what is ppm? ppm stands for parts per million. It's a concentration unit meaning 1 mg of substance per 1 liter of solution or 1 mg per liter. So let's learn how to prepare stock solution with the formula weight needed is equal to concentration in ppm into volume in liter divided by purity divided by 100. So let's learn this with an example. Suppose you want to prepare 1000 ppm lead stock solution for 100 ml and the purity given is 98.5%. So the weight needed is equal to 1000 into 0.1 into 100 and divided by purity, that is 98.5. So you're going to weigh 101.5 mg to obtain 1000 ppm of lead stock solution. Now let's learn about ppm and ppb calculations. For this you need to understand the units, that is 1 ppm is equal to 1 mg per liter and that is equal to 1000 ppb, and vice versa, that is 1 ppb is equal to 1 μg per liter, that is equal to 0.001 ppm. So the dilution formula is C1 V1 is equal to C2 V2, where C1 is your initial concentration, V1 is volume of stock solution, C2 is final concentration, and V2 is your final volume. So let's learn this with an example. Suppose you want to prepare 10 ppm solution for 50 ml from 1000 ppm stock. So you know the C1, that is your 1000 ppm. V1, what we are solving for. C2 is 10 ppm solution and V2 is 50 ml. So V1 is equal to C2 into V2 divided by C1, that is 0.5 ml. So you need to prepare 0.5 ml of stock solution into 50 ml of volumetric flask and then dilute it to the mark. So let's learn PPB preparation. Suppose you want to prepare 50 ppb of solution from 10 ppm stock for 100 ml. Now first you need to convert this 10 ppm to ppb. So 10 ppm is equal to 10,000 ppb. So V1 is equal to 50 into 100 divided by 10,000 ppb, that is equal to 0.5 ml. Now let's learn about the third topic, that is spike calculation. Now spiking is adding a known amount of analyte to a sample to verify method accuracy and matrix effect. So the formula is spike concentration is equal to volume of spike into concentration of spike divided by the final volume. Let's learn spiking with an example. You have a water sample, you want to spike it at 5 ppm using 1000 ppm stock solution. So the final sample volume here is 100 ml. So spike calculation is equal to C1 V1 is equal to C2 V2, where V1 is equal to 5 ppm into 100 divided by a stock, that is 1000 ppm, that is equal to 0.5 ml. So you need to take sample, example 99.5 ml. Then you need to add 0.5 ml of 1000 ppm spike solution and mix it thoroughly. Analyze both spiked and unspiked sample. So the expected spike level in sample should be 5 ppm. So after spiking your sample, you need to know the recovery of the analyte as per the method so that you know the efficiency of the method. So recovery, it determines how much of the spiked analyte is detected, accounting for matrix effect and method efficiency. So the formula is percent recovery is equal to spiked sample result minus original sample result divided by the spike amount added into 100. So let's learn it with an example. Suppose the original sample contained a concentration of 2.3 ppm and your spiked sample concentration amounted to 7.1 ppm. And the spike that you had added in the sample is 5 ppm. So, percent recovery is equal to 7.1 ppm, that is your spiked sample concentration, minus your original sample concentration, that is 2.3 ppm, divided by the spike amount, that is 5 ppm, into 100. So 4.8 divided by 5 into 100 will give you 96%. So typically acceptable range is between 85 to 115% for most of the methods, and 96% recovery is an excellent method, is accurate with minimal matrix effect. If the recovery percentage is less than 85%, it may indicate matrix suppression or incomplete extraction. And if the recovery is more than 115, it may indicate matrix enhancement or contamination. When can you say that the recovery was poor for that method or sample? Suppose your original sample contained 1.5 ppm and your spiked sample was 5.2 ppm and the spike you added in the sample was 5 ppm. So according to the recovery calculation, you get 74%. Now this indicates potential problems like matrix interferences, incomplete extraction or analyte loss. Now suppose in a batch the recovery was low, or if the recovery was high, that is unacceptable. So what can you do to give the correct true value of the result? So there comes correction factor. Now what is correction factor? It adjusts measured concentration to account for systematic recovery issues in the method. It compensates for matrix effect, incomplete extraction or analyte loss. So the formula for recovery correction factor is equal to 100 divided by the percent recovery. So corrected concentration would be measured concentration into the recovery factor. So let's learn how to apply correction factor if there is low recovery. Now your method consistently shows 80% recovery for pesticide analysis. So the given data is sample measured concentration is 4 ppm, recovery was 80%. So 100 divided by 80 is equal to 1.25. So when you apply this correction factor to the obtained concentration, that equals to 5 ppm. So the recovery that was lost was corrected by using the correction factor. So the true concentration is 5 ppm. The method only recovered for 80%, giving us 4 ppm. So we multiplied correction factor, that is 1.25, to correct it. The same will go when you get high recovery in your sample. Suppose you get recovery of 115%. So the given sample measured concentration is 5.75 ppm and the recovery percentage 115%. So the correction factor is equal to 100 divided by the obtained recovery percentage, that is equal to 0.97. So when you multiply the obtained concentration, that is 5.75, with your correction factor, that is 0.87, you get the actual value of your analyte in the sample, that is 5 ppm. So matrix enhancement inflated the result to 5.75 ppm. So we multiply the correction factor to obtain the true value. Now these correction factors cannot be used if for one sample you get less recovery or for other sample you get low recovery, or if it is inconsistent. So how to use correction factor and when to use it? So the recovery should be consistent, that is outside the range of the recovery percentage that is acceptable, that is 85 to 115. So if your recovery is outside these range, then only you should apply recovery factors. Now matrix effect are reproducible and well characterized. Suppose an apple sample you spiked 5 ppm of concentration and consistently you're getting 3 ppm. So the recovery is only 70%. But it is consistent. You have analyzed the sample for 7 times and for 7 times you're getting 70% recovery. That is when you can apply for correction factor. Recovery should be documented with multiple spike or recovery studies. And when to not use correction factors? When recovery varies widely, that is poor precision, and root cause of this poor recovery hasn't been investigated. If the recovery is within acceptable limit, you cannot use it. And you cannot use the correction factor if you have a single spike or recovery result without any replication. So the key takeaway of this video was that you learned how to prepare stock solution for 1000 ppm. That is, weight is equal to concentration into volume into 100 divided by purity if it is mentioned. And you learned how to prepare PPM and PPB solution by using the formula C1V1 is equal to C2V2. You learned about what is spiking and how to spike. Spiking is nothing but adding known amount of sample to the test method performance. And you learned how to calculate recovery percentage. Recovery is nothing but it measures the method accuracy between acceptable range, that is 85 to 115%. And lastly, you learned how to apply correction factor if your recovery is very low or if it is very high. Correction factor is equal to 100 divided by percent recovery. So I hope you liked this video, and if you have any questions regarding this video, please do drop it in the comment section. Thank you.